you've got some really interesting polling.
You have, you see, we dominate, all us news people. You sit here and we talk about the Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, I'm convinced people from Northern Ireland don't even understand the Northern Ireland Protocol. They understand there are issues and there are problems, and these have to be sorted out, and that's what the politicians are there to do. But I always am aware in this programme, are people really interested, the people in the rest of the UK interested in this?
So I wouldn't overestimate their levels of interest. I think you're quite accurate when you say many people from Northern Ireland don't really understand the Northern Ireland Protocol and the impacts and what it is. When we ask people across the UK, 1 in 3 would say they're following it as a news story. They're much more interested in news stories about inflation, cost of living, Ukraine, etc., the strikes. They're more interested in watching strikes. And when you look at the top issues they think are facing the UK today, Brexit has fallen way down the list.
Yes.
The Northern Ireland Protocol is not on there.
And if they're following this, are they seeing this as a Brexit story or a Northern Ireland story?
They will be seeing it as Brexit, Northern Ireland, and actually now very much looking at it from a Rishi Sunak competence perspective as well.
Interesting.
I think
so what's that telling you?
Well, I wouldn't overestimate it again. So it will be a moment for government to demonstrate competence around managing Brexit, and that is what they're utilising it to do and to portray in the press. The challenge, of course, for Rishi Sunak is that he may be overestimating how much people care about Northern Ireland. 3 in 4 Britons haven't visited the country, and 1 in 3 wouldn't mind if it was no longer part of the United Kingdom.
How many?
3 in 4.
What?
77% to be exact have not visited.
But then how many don't care if it's part of the UK?
1 in 3.
Third.
1 in 3 do care, sorry. 1 in 3 do care. And that means a
they
majority either don't or
that
don't.
means 2/3 couldn't care less if we were in the UK or not.
Yeah, wouldn't care less, or they just don't know, they don't have an opinion. And so actually, we shouldn't... So there are going to be many moments around Brexit and the management of Brexit over the next few years, because the majority of the British people, three out of 4, would say that they know that negotiations will be ongoing. This is not a done deal. This is a process, not an end destination for somewhere we're going to end up tomorrow. And actually, this Northern Ireland Protocol is one of the milestones. There are more coming this year. There's a period at which we will look at the EU laws, and many of those will be, the UK will set those aside at the end of this year. That'll be another key moment for Rishi Sunak's government.
Yeah. So we're not over Brexit yet, but are people still pondering with the implications? What do people think of the fallout now of Brexit?
We have seen, in the years we've been conducting polling on the topic, we have seen a rise in the proportion of people saying it's made their daily lives worse, their day-to-day, and a rise in the proportion who think it was the wrong decision as well. So that has shifted a little bit over time. What we also see is that the public find it very difficult to disentangle what is a negative impact in their lives because of Brexit and what's a negative impact because of Ukraine, because of the COVID pandemic. Some things are fundamentally, they can link them more directly to Brexit. Things like trade, they see trade as an issue they perceive to be Brexit dominated. But food on shelves, is that Brexit, is that COVID, is that climate change, is that Ukraine? And there are lots of factors, so they're finding it difficult to disentangle, but ultimately the mood against Brexit has risen.
But we were basically talking here about what's the mood towards Rishi Sunak as well, and you were thinking yesterday he staged all this very, very well.
Well, I just wondered whether there's been so much speculation about him being a bit boring, a bit bland, a bit of a technocrat, and yesterday he came out and did what no previous recent Prime Minister's been able to do. Does he now stand a better position going into first the May elections, the local elections, but then next year the general election?
So on local elections, we always say they're snapshots in time and they're fought on local issues much of the time. The mood of the nation will matter. Local issues, still potholes is one of the top local issues. You know, that's not necessarily directly linked to Rishi Sunak and some of the stuff his government are doing today. But
they're real issues that affect real lives.
They are. And so there will be some pundits who will be reading heavily into the local elections. The majority of us who work in public research will say snapshot in time, local elections, local issues, and gauge them carefully. And there's effectively almost 2 years now until it's likely the Conservative Party will call an election, and Brexit will be one of the secondary issues, perhaps, how that's been managed, whether the freedoms that were promised have been delivered, whether it's been managed well. the top issues today would be the NHS and also cost of living. 2 years from now, those will have moved on again. So it's very difficult to say whether, this is one moment, this is one part of managing the Brexit process. It looks as if it may do something for perceived competence of our government, but it's not going to transform the voting intention polls. Rishi Sunak sits on -19 as a net satisfaction score. Keir Starmer sits on -7. He's performing better as a leader at the minute than Rishi Sunak. I am sure that there will be some level of impact, but not significant.
OK.